prior to coming here, I had worked at another institution where I had a student athlete who began to transition while he was in school. And I was working in an all-women's college at the time, and so we kind of had a lot of challenges. My assistant and I at the time kind of got interested in it, basically because he had said, you know, once he started transitioning, he knew he was done with sports and there was nothing he could do about it. And so we kind of like perked up, and I was like, well, is there actually really nothing you can do about it? Can't you still continue to play sports and transition? So that's how I first kind of started getting interested in it, where I basically had a real life situation that I had to deal with. And then since getting involved with working particularly with him and doing more research, I've really gotten involved in kind of the whole entire process of what it's like to be identified as being a transgender individual, and then the role in which athletics play in that. You know, the biggest thing that I've kind of found in my time when I've worked or spoken with these individuals, there's a lot of education that needs to go on in just kind of society, and especially in smaller communities, colleges, high schools, churches, families, about what it means to be transgender. You know, and I think it falls kind of under that same umbrella that being gay does, that everybody thinks it's a choice and that they're doing this for a reason. And, you know, I had gotten a couple comments and stuff from colleagues that didn't understand, and family members were like, well, why wouldn't anybody transition so they can be more competitive at sports? And I'm like, you really think that's the issue? You really think that someone's going to go through this whole entire process so that they can maybe have a successful sports career? So my focus has really been on educating people about what it means to be transgender, and then how athletics plays a role in that. You know, I think it's athletics in just kind of the LBG community is evolving, and kind of that T component is going to take much longer because there is so many things that people don't understand. And you know, when I was at my own women's college, I mean, the individual's name is Tucker. I mean, he got a ton of support. He didn't wind up being able to play athletics for reasons, because we were at a single-sex institution. He would have had more options if we were at a co-ed. So there's a lot of medical stuff, there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of kind of hoops you still have to jump through just to be eligible to participate. But so far I've seen, when you do have a small community and you have someone on a team, that if there's good team cohesion and then this individual is going through something like that, more often than not, the team will rally around. But then it goes, it has to get bigger from there. You know, it might work just on the team, or it might start with just a teammate or just one of the coaches, you know, but then you've got to think about the other teams that are going to need some education to support that individual, then the department, and then the school, and you bring in residence life, you bring in student affairs, you bring in all these other issues for this one person. So it kind of, it has a more, I think, global effect to be a transgender athlete than to be a gay athlete, because it's not so simple and defined yet, and there's still a lot of confusion and a gray area in what it means, that I think it takes a little bit longer for a department or a school or an institution to kind of understand how to handle that individual, because every individual is so different in their process and what they're going through and what's going to happen and how they respond to treatment. Especially when you get to professional, I think you get a lot more of people scrutinizing because they don't understand and thinking that this is for competitive advantage. In my research, there's probably maybe a little over 24 confirmed transgender individuals that have transitioned and have continued to play a sport. But a lot of it's cycling, or you know, some of the smaller, not our big major sports. The hardest thing I have that I deal with is people generally not understanding that the torment and the absolute suffering that these individuals go through prior to transitioning and prior to understanding what's going on in their own body and their own head. It's just, if you meet one person that's gone through that, you will not think for a second that they're trying to take advantage of a system. So I get really frustrated, especially at a professional level, where that's kind of misconstrued. You know, there's so many physiological things that individuals don't understand, and what goes on in your body with your hormones, and what happens when you start changing your hormones, and the absolute barrage and effect that has on your body, and all the changes you're going through emotionally, physically, physiologically. I mean, it's so much that I think specifically in the professional world, nobody has even taken the time to really understand, and they just so focus on competitive. So how dare this man want to become a woman so he can be better at golf or tennis? And it just blows my mind, because that's not, has nothing to do with that.